The Silver Shores Homeowners Association thought they'd finally won. For years, they'd coveted my family's forgotten, marshy island just beyond their pristine waterfront community. They harassed, they lowballed, they even tried to claim it through obscure ordinances. When I refused to sell, they did what bullies with too much power always do, they took it. They dredged, they built, and they erected 10 gleaming commercial buildings for their exclusive marina club. What they didn't know was that I'd been waiting for them to do exactly that. You see, my great-grandfather didn't just buy Whisper Island, he buried a legal landmine in its deed, and they just merrily marched an entire construction crew right on top of it. My name is Elias Thorne, and I am the keeper of my family's curses. The biggest one was Whisper Island, 23 acres of tidal marsh, loblolly pines, and mosquitoes, 300 yards off the coast of the uber-exclusive Silver Shores community in Florida. To the HOA board, led by the surgically sleek CEO-turned-neighborhood king, Grant Caldwell, it was an eyesore, a blot on their perfect, manicured horizon. To me, it was the last piece of my reclusive grandfather, who taught me to fish there and told me the island's secret. For 5 years, Caldwell's offers came. Polite at first, then persistent, then offensive. When I didn't budge, the war began. My boat was cited for unauthorized docking at my own island. Permits for basic maintenance were mysteriously denied. They even passed an aesthetic buffer zone ordinance, trying to claim jurisdiction over the water approach. Their lawyers were slick, their tactics infuriating, but I held the deed. Or so I thought. The trespass notice arrived on a Tuesday. Not from me to them, but from them to me. It stated that due to continuous, adverse, and open use of the island's eastern shore for community kayak storage, a few racks they'd installed years ago and I'd repeatedly told them to remove, they were claiming prescriptive easement. It was a brazen, shaky legal move, but it was a declaration of war. My lawyer, a tired old salt named Ben Crawley, just sighed. They have deeper pockets, Elias. They'll drown you in motions. That's when I remembered the box. The one my grandfather gave me with the deed, stamped, for when the wolves circle. Inside, under yellowed surveys, was a single typed page from 1922, a Perpetual Covenant for Preservation. My great-grandfather, a shrewd and eccentric naturalist, had sold the surrounding mainland that would become Silver Shores, but he'd retained the island with a unique clause. It stated that the island was to remain forever wild and free of permanent structure, and that this covenant was appurtenant to and running with the land of the grantor, the mainland he had sold. Ben's eyes turned electric. Elias, this isn't just a rule for the island. This is a reciprocal covenant. The mainland property owners, every single one of those Silver Shores homes, are legally bound by their own deeds to ensure this island remains undeveloped. If they violate it, the covenant is broken, and the original grantor, or his heir, has recourse. The recourse being? I asked. Ben smiled a wolfish smile. Financial damages. Possibly injunctive relief. Or, in extreme cases of deliberate, knowing violation, reversion. A reversionary clause. The land could revert back to me. Worth exploring if they flagrantly breach it, Ben said. But first, they have to breach it. Spectacularly. So, we played the ultimate game of possum. We stopped protesting. We let their easement claim stand uncontested. We went radio silent. To Caldwell, it looked like surrender. I'd watch from my porch as their survey boats circled the island like sharks. The dredging started 6 months later. Then the pilings. Then the framed structures. 10 eco-friendly luxury cabanas for their marina club, complete with a bar, a gym, and a concierge desk. Each building was a monument to their arrogance. They invested millions, sure they'd broken me. The local paper even ran a glossy feature, Silver Shores turns blight into beauty. The day the ribbon-cutting ceremony was announced, Ben and I filed the lawsuit. It wasn't a simple trespass suit. It was a breach of reciprocal covenant case, naming the Silver Shores HOA and, critically, every homeowner member individually, as their deeds made them party to the 1922 agreement. The lawsuit landed like a tactical nuke. The press release was brutal. Air sues entire waterfront community for $75 million in damages, seeks return of privately owned island after unauthorized commercial development. The chaos was instant. Caldwell blustered about frivolous claims and squatters' rights, but his homeowners weren't billionaire CEOs. They were doctors, lawyers, retirees. They saw their life savings, their home equity, attached to a lawsuit because their HOA built a tiki bar on someone else's land. The social media groups exploded. Lawyers' letters flew between neighbors. The united community shattered into 1,000 panicked pieces. The hearing was a masterpiece. Ben presented the 1922 covenant, the chain of title showing it binding all subsequent mainland owners, and drone footage of the 10 fully constructed commercial buildings. The HOA's lawyer argued abandonment, modernity, and hardship. The judge, a stern woman with little patience for rich men's overreach, cut him off. "Let me be clear," she said. "Your clients saw a piece of land they did not own. They harassed the owner. Then, based on a dubious adverse possession claim, they spent millions erecting a commercial complex on it, in direct violation of a century-old covenant that their own properties are subject to." Is that an accurate summary? The settlement conference was held in my lawyer's office. Grant Caldwell, deflated and flanked by his own furious board, was there. The terms weren't negotiable. Complete removal. The HOA had 120 days to dismantle and remove all 10 structures, every piling, every dock, and restore the island's shoreline to its original state, under supervision of an environmental firm of my choosing. Financial damages, a payment of $15 million for environmental destruction, loss of use, and legal fees. The kicker are, a permanent, recorded easement in my favor. A public access walkway along the Silver Shores community waterfront, so anyone could stroll and look at the now forever wild Whisper Island, a permanent monument to their hubris. They had to agree. Their insurance wouldn't cover the full judgment if they lost at trial, and their homeowners were ready to revolt. Today, as I stand on the restored banks of Whisper Island, the only sounds are the wind and the water. The scars are healing. The $15 million is in a trust, ensuring the island's preservation in perpetuity. And every evening, I take my coffee and walk the beautiful, paver stone path that runs right behind the multimillion-dollar homes of Silver Shores. I nod politely at the residents. Some glare. A few even smile, secretly grateful I toppled Caldwell's regime. Grant Caldwell moved out last month. The new HOA board sends me courteous notices about community events, which I politely decline. They thought they were building an empire on my land. Instead, they built my fortune and my freedom. The wolves didn't just circle, they walked straight into the trap, and I locked the gate behind them. Some family curses, it turns out, are blessings in disguise. The island whispers again, and finally, it's at peace.